I am your financial friend Hannah, and today I'm going to use an example to explain how a margin loan works. A margin loan is used to purchase shares. It allows investors to borrow funds to purchase securities, using their existing investments in there as collateral. Here's an example of how a margin loan works. Let's say you have $10,000 in cash and decide to take out a margin loan. A margin account will allow you to borrow additional funds to invest in more securities. For example, you may apply for a loan of an additional $10,000, doubling your purchasing power, so you are able to hold $20,000 of shares. This is the benefit of a margin loan. You can have a larger investment portfolio. Let's see what happens next if you go ahead and buy the $20,000 of shares. First of all, we need to understand the margin requirement. The loan provider will set a margin requirement, which is the minimum amount of equity, which is your own money you must maintain in the account. This amount will vary, but for this example, we will say the margin requirement is 50%. Your total investment is $20,000, and so if the margin requirement is 50%, you need to maintain at least $10,000 in equity in the account. If the value of the stock increases, your equity in the account also increases. For example, if the stock you purchased for $20,000 increases in value to $25,000, you now have $25,000 minus the outstanding margin loan of $10,000, giving you equity now of $15,000. With equity of $15,000 and shares valuing $25,000, you now have a margin of 60%, well above the minimum requirement. It would be possible to purchase additional shares and still stay within the margin. However, if the value of the stock decreases, your equity could fall below the required level. If the value of the shares falls from $10,000 to $8,000, you would have equity of $8,000 and a total portfolio of $18,000, meaning your margin is 44%. As this is below the margin requirement, the loan provider will issue a margin call. In a margin call, you would need to deposit additional funds or sell some of your securities to bring the equity back to the required level. It is also important to keep in mind that margin loans are not free. The provider charges interest on the borrowed funds. This will either need to be paid from your own funds or taken from the margin account. This reduces the size of the portfolio and increases the chance of a margin call. While using margin can amplify potential returns, it also magnifies potential losses. If the value of your investments falls significantly, you may not only face margin calls, but also risk losing more money than you initially invested. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about margin loans, or if there are any other topics you would like to see a Finance Friends video about.